Grandfather, she cried, spinning away from the window. The sky hung heavy and gray above the fishing boats bobbing in the harbor. The next, lightning split the clouds, and the wind howled down from the cliffs like something alive and hungry. Then I hammered the roof in rhythm with her heartbeat. Then the lightning came again, and for one breathtaking moment the world turned white. She saw it, far out beyond the jagged rocks where the ships never ventured, where the water ran deep. A light bloomed, a single beam of golden warmth cutting through the tempest. A lighthouse out the edge of the world. He said softly, "I thought it was only a story." The sun climbed over the water, turning the sea to hammered copper, and the village of Saltmere emerged from its shelters to assess. A few boats had been dashed against the rocks. Some roofs had lost their thatch. But everyone was safe, and that was what mattered. She almost understood. "You're not listening to a word I say," her grandfather said gently. "There are things in this world, Elara, that do not follow the rules we think they should. The lighthouse is one of them. It appears when it is needed. It chooses who will come. But why me? Hamelo, Enya, Swiles, Therian, Tenenna." Suddenly she was alone in a world of mist, the water lapping quietly against her boat, the silence so complete she could hear her own heartbeat. "Hello," we saw uncertain. The fog did not answer, but something else did, a sound like singing but not quite. It was beautiful and strange, a melody that seemed to come from beneath the water itself. Hilaire's hands trembled on the oars. Every instinct told her to turn back, to flee to the safety of the shore. She thought of her grandfather's words, "Trust your heart. It is wiser than you know." She closed her eyes and listened to the singing. It was not a threat, she realized. It was no way that you, wiser since changes, just a shelter to heavens, are a estate to the Trendjans to the size their home. Child of the say white stone as the exterior. A spiral staircase wound upward into darkness, and the air smelled of salt and something else, something like old books and dried flowers. And Lara lit her grandfather's lantern and began to climb. The stairs were worn smooth by countless feet over countless years. The words were written in a she did not recognize, but as she looked at them, they began to change, rearranging themselves into sentences to stand. "Welcome, child of the sea," she read aloud, her voice echoing in the quiet room. "You have come far, and you have shown courage, but courage alone is not enough. Wisdom requires more all of our sighting." Tears streamed down Elara's face, which she could barely remember. She thought of her father's hands teaching her to tie knots. She thought of her grandfather, alone in his cottage for her to come home. I feel like they're still with me," she said slowly. "Even though they're gone. I feel like love doesn't stop when someone dies. It just changes. It becomes part of who I am." The keeper reached out and touched Elara's chest, right over her heart. A warmth spread through her, golden and gentle, like the first light of morning. It's sunlight that no way. And even clays within touched Elara's chest. Right over her heart, a warmth sped through her, golden and gentle, like the first light of morning. It is raised in me. It is those face out of colors, of my knee. And what do you feel in Trastix? Later, when the fire had burned down to embers, and that was enough their sixtents contend to something than my pre-full term souls. When she reached the shore, her grandfather was waiting on the dock. He looked worried until he saw her face, and then his expression softened into something like pride. "You found your answer." His voice rough but kind. "I have been in the ocean for taking my boat, but what you said about love not ending, it makes me think maybe he's still with me, in some way. Maybe I can let go of some of this pain. The lighthouse was just a reminder." Just say I see that Nol as Askai. The stands and he controls was Wilnian, sturdiness as a proof for Dan. Trees as a stray, Commons way, Candace as a mind. Careful, tivity, Cool. Careful as any base. Tear is as well. Careful if for mother raising, taking more. But this night was different, as worried as a recent lace. She is with part of wires at pyraised of the worlds. So there's wheeled overhead and somewhere out at the hair there was bowls. Heisters and dasm faces, if ye was in their wise, e's tum alive from the straight and state the soldiers, it might friendly. I friend on the